What's up? We're back. That might have been a weird start. I'm messing with the camera a little bit. Anyway, the last video cut off at the very end, so I didn't get to finish showing you my books. So I'm gonna show you those, and then I might show you my comic books, just because why not? You know, might as well show you those as well. So yeah, let's hop right into it. I think we left off here with Cape Fear. That wasn't even supposed to rhyme, but it did. There's just something about it. Now a major motion picture. I didn't know that the book came first. I obviously grabbed this because of seeing the movie with Robert De Niro. Yeah, this isn't like high up on my reading list or anything like that. I'm going to get to it one day, but I just wanted to grab it for the collection, really. Now, next up, we've got my Clive Barker books. The first one, now a lot of these are actually from my grandpa, like this one here, The Axeman Cometh. But this is Clive Barker's In the Flesh, which is a short story collection that featured the story that was later made into the Candyman movie with Tony Todd. When I saw this as a kid in my grandpa's garage, immediately the artwork kind of spoke to me, and I was very reeled in and interested in this one. I did read a few of the stories here. I haven't read all of them. I had to read the one that was later made into Candyman, of course. That's where most of my interest was. But I really enjoyed this one. I don't think I said it before, actually. This is a tattered copy. You know, as you can see, it's very used. But I wanted to keep this one because it's always been very special to me. And it was the first Clive Barker thing I ever checked out or read, you know. So that's that. And then I've got The Damnation Game, which I haven't read. When I was young, I just knew the name Clive Barker through Hellraiser and things like that. So I had I'd been interested in the cover, and I read the back a little bit, and I just thought eventually the time would come that I would read this. Now the time hasn't come just yet. Clive Barker isn't my favorite author, you know, but I do really enjoy In the Flesh, and I'm sure I will give this one a chance eventually. The time just hasn't come yet. I do enjoy Hellbound Heart. I just haven't gotten a copy of that one yet. But next up, we've got my Thomas Harris books, which are the obvious ones. Silence of the Lambs. This also came from my grandpa. You know, this is a used copy as well, but this one sort of held up a little bit better than these two, I guess you could say. I remember I read like halfway through it, something like that, and then I had stopped. My reading fluency level wasn't very high at the time, you know, and I hadn't read many books at all. So later I went back and read this one to completion. Great book. Phenomenal. You can't go wrong with these, and you can't go wrong with Red Dragon either, which is the next one. Now, I love this one more than Silence of the Lambs, but they're both great together. I haven't read Hannibal, which I believe my grandpa also had that one at the time. This was when I was very young, but I didn't read Hannibal, and I didn't read any of the other ones. These two I hold very dear, and I don't think I'm going to read the other ones. I know enough about them. I'm not really that interested. So anyway, we're going to get into the next one, which I think is the last one that I got from my grandpa, and this is a hidden gem. This is a book called Ghoul. Now, I believe this is short horror stories. I'm not sure exactly. It's been a while since I checked this one out. Now, you can see this book as well is pretty used and worn down, but it's still, the cover is still intact, and I think it's a great copy overall. I'm sure you could get this online. I believe I have seen copies before, but this one is special because of where I got it. Up here it's stamped. Maybe it was a library copy. It says April 24th, 1989. A lot of these, were passed down, I guess you could say. Yeah, all these except for Red Dragon I got from my grandpa. Next up, I just got these, The Dark Half. This is an obvious Stephen King gem. Sorry about that. I read the hardcover of this as a library book when I was in maybe 8th grade, I think. But yeah, I love this as well as the movie. And I just recently got that. I don't know if I said that or not. And then we've got Stephen King's Night Watch, or sorry, End of Watch. Didn't even look at the words. Anyway, I haven't read this. I may return this. I may return this because I didn't know it was a part of a series. I'm not sure exactly. I heard that you can read them as standalone novels, so I may do that and give it a chance. But next up, I'm more interested in reading Desperation and The Stand, which I know will take a while, but those are definitely higher up in priority, at least. And next, we've got Elevation. I don't know if I mentioned this already in the last video, but I'll go over it again if I did. This is one of Stephen King's shorter novels, I believe, and I think it was his most recent. I just got this as a gift. It came with these two over here. I'm excited to read this one because I know I'm going to blow right through it, but I read the reviews. There were mixed reviews. I'm still really excited to get to it. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I did hear that this was not like any of his others, and it's a much more tame and sort of simple novel, I guess you could say. And then next, we've got the obvious Stephen King book, and that is Stephen King's It. You know, any Stephen King fan knows all about this one. This is the one that everybody knows about, you know, the big one. And yeah, that book is just a monster of a read. You know, I don't think I'm going to revisit that anytime soon. Maybe after The Stand if I read that one. But anyway, we're going to go right into the comic books now. This is Angel, single issue. A lot of these are single issues, but I got this from my girlfriend, and I was really happy with it. I haven't read the others in this series before, but there were a lot of characters I was familiar with and really cool artwork. I shouldn't have picked this one up, I guess you could say. I was happy with the content inside, but I'd much rather have gotten the graphic novel. This is Road of Bones. I don't know anything about it. The story is very vague and leaves you with a bit of a major cliffhanger. But anyway, going into the next one, we've got Comics Greatest World Monster. Now this is another, I don't know anything about this, but the cover looked great. I looked inside. The artwork is really nice, really cool, really well done. I just love things like that. The reason I have these are because it's sort of just a throwback to my childhood, which I really appreciate. Now these, you're going to see mainly Punisher comics, but this is Punisher POV. And this is amazing because this is like sort of like a horror story with the Punisher in it, and it is really cool. The villain is great in this book. I'll show you a little bit of it. Still in great condition. The artwork is really nice. It's a thicker graphic novel as well. See, that is the villain. This is 3 of 4, and then I've got 4 of 4, so I gotta get the rest eventually, but this is awesome. Definitely my favorite two Punisher comics that I own currently. Then this is Trencher, which is a huge throwback because I didn't even know about this when I was young until a family friend showed it to me. And there were other issues that I remember being shown when I was young, but I saw this and I had to grab it. Just because it really, it takes me back. That's the main reason I have most of these. Now, the second one, is The Goon. And when I say the second one, I mean, both of these I was introduced to at a very young age, and, I had to get just because of how it takes me back, you know, the nostalgia is very real with these. The Goon is a phenomenal comic series. And I plan on getting each volume of, the Goon. The first one is called Nothing But Misery. Those are all impeccable. Really great artwork, fun stories, and you can even get started on those at a young age. It's not too gruesome, but also it can be here and there. This was also from my girlfriend. Really happy with this one. This is one of 4. Which was really good. I believe there was more Alien than Predator in this one, but I really enjoyed it. Or I could be... It may have been the opposite. I thought this was really cool, though. Then we've got my favorite villain in comics, and that is Morbius. The issue is Midnight Suns Unlimited with... Ghost Rider, but I got this from Morbius. Morbius the Living Vampire is amazing. I used to collect all of those. I don't have them all anymore, it's a shame, but this is what we do. We go back and we get the things from our childhood, you know, in our free time, you know. This is Death Wreck, which I believe is related to Death's Head, which is another one I was introduced to when I was really young. This is the Incomplete Death's Head. Great artwork on all of these. I believe that's Iron Man. At first I thought it was a knockoff or a dollar store brand Iron Man sort of thing going on. But now I'm going to skip these. These are just single issue Goon comics. Next I've got Punisher Frankencastle when Punisher was killed. I think he was killed by Wolverine. I could be wrong, but this is awesome. It's only the first issue. I'd have to get the actual graphic novel of it sometime later, but next is Deathlock, which I've got a lot of. Deathlock and the Punisher. Another Deathlock and the Punisher. These comics are great. This is Terror, a really cool character that I had never known about. My main thing is Punisher, Ghost Rider, Deathlock, and Death's Head, along with like the Goon and other things like that, or Morbius, the Living Vampire. This is a crossover, the Punisher and Terror, really cool. This is the continuation of Punisher and Terror. Then we've got Deathlock, it says annual time stream. This is a 30th anniversary. It says 30th anniversary of the Spider-Man. I think Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. Then we've got Ghost Rider and Deathlock. We've got round 2 of Ghost Rider and Deathlock. Then, of course, Wolverine and Ghost Rider. And then there's an alternate cover there, which is pretty cool. Then we've got Sleepwalker, but I got it because of Ghost Rider. That's an obvious one. Oh, there we go. Then we've got this Ghost Rider. The main reason I collect Ghost Rider as well is because that was my favorite comic as a child. Then we've got Adventurers, which I just picked up because of the cover, and inside it's actually black and white, but it was a pleasant surprise. It's sort of a fantasy type, I keep wanting to say novel, but comic, I mean. Sorry about that. Then we've got RoboCop. This is just a single issue, you know, nothing crazy. I really liked the RoboCop movies and the comics growing up, so I just thought I'd get that one. That's the only one I have, but then we have Skeleton Warriors, which is based off of the cartoon, which is why I got this. It's only a shame, though, because the actual Skeleton Warriors story is kind of short, and then there's different storylines in there, which I don't fuck with that at all. That's not cool, but whatever, you know, you get these single issues and it's a blind buy. Then I used to have the graphic novel of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was done by the same guy who did the Hellboy comics, but these are all great.